There's no question that the 300L behind me and the Rally are massively popular dual sports, but Honda are really struggling to meet demand, and that's causing massive delays. I'm being told by some people on the wait list that it's 6 to 12 months, and some instances longer than that. So they're as rare as rocking horse poop, which can be massively frustrating. So what exactly is leading to this massive delay from Honda? Well, I'm gonna break down why Honda are struggling to meet that demand, and I'm also gonna suggest to you some fantastic alternatives to the 300L that you can go and get on the used market immediately and get out there and into the dirt. So first off, let's go into why Honda are finding it so difficult. We can look at their official memo. Basically, Honda are citing the supply chain issues and obviously the health crisis that caused that supply chain issue as a major reason why they're struggling to meet demand. But there are a few other layers to this that I wanted to break down because that's the easy answer. So let's go into it a little bit deeper. So another side of this is EPA regulations. It's been reported by quite a few media outlets now that Honda had to shelve production on 10 models to get them to pass the EPA regulations once again. Things like the CT125, the CB300R, bikes like that, the Rebel 250, all those bikes have kind of fallen out of the EPA regulations. Honda have had to shelve them and get them to pass regulations again. Now, what isn't cited in that list and isn't confirmed by Honda is whether the 300L and the 300 Rally count among those motorcycles. What's interesting is the 300R with the same motor is on that list. So it is a possibility, but it hasn't been confirmed by Honda. The other thing that I think is leading to the shortage of this motorcycle is, unlike a lot of other popular dual sports like the DRZ 400, the KLX 300, this is a global machine. Demand potentially is a lot higher for this bike. They've got to produce a whole lot more of them than say like the KLX 300, which is basically only available in a few countries like North America. Kawasaki do not have to pump out nearly as many KLX 300s as Honda have to pump out CRF 300Ls. And that leads me on to the next subset of this being a global bike, and that's Honda is the biggest motorcycle manufacturer. So on one side, you would expect them to have the biggest production facilities to meet that demand, but on the other side, if supply chains do get interrupted, Honda has the biggest demand to try and catch back up to. So those are a few of the anecdotal reasons, but let's go back to what Honda stated as the supply chain issues. Why the hell is the supply chain still cited as an issue in 2023? Well, there's different supply chains and there's terms like inelastic and elastic supply chains. So when you've got something that's a very easy commodity to get hold of, it's a single processed unit, there's not too much that goes into it, as opposed to making a motorcycle, which requires so many different elements shipped from so many different places in the world and so many specialized services. You got to think about oil production, semiconductors, metallurgy, the plastics, the electronics. There's so many specific little items that go into making a automobile or a motorcycle. This is what we term an inelastic supply chain, in that so many different pieces are involved in creating this motorcycle that if something goes wrong, there really isn't the elasticity to soak up that break in the supply chain. And with so many different elements, different things can have shortages at different points in time. So it really just compounds the issues. The other layer of this supply chain is that some things are readily available. It's just that manufacturers cannot get them at the price they need to get them at to be able to produce the bike and still make a profit. When things are more expensive, companies tend to hold out, shop around, wait for the markets to correct a bit to maybe bulk buy at a cheaper price to ensure their profit margin. So this is another thing that could be leading to delays in production of the CRF 300L. There's no denying that this is a fantastic little dual sport. Just enough power, affordable enough, and capable enough to just about do anything. Itchy Boots, I think, has proved the potential of the Rally to be a global traveling motorcycle, and the 300L really is great from everything from single track to long distance adventures. But is it any point waiting for one when there are other great used alternatives on the market that will get you out immediately into the dirt, rather than sitting behind your desk waiting for that call from the dealership that might be 6 or 12 months? So let's get into the used alternatives that can get you into the dirt immediately. I think the first and obvious one is the Yamaha WR250R. This is a bike that I owned for 5 years. I love the thing, and I think it's the closest in comparison to the 300L. And there's a few things that the WR250R does better. The WR250R is roughly 7 kilos lighter than the 300L, and it also has vastly superior suspension. The WR250R I really think is a fantastic alternative if you can find one, because they are starting to get rare. But if you can find one with a great amount of mods, they really are a fantastic bike and make a pretty decent amount of power for a 250. I'd say it's very comparable to the 300L, so you should check one out if you haven't already. The next one, which is pretty obvious, is the CRF 250L, and it's got quite a few benefits over waiting for the 300L. First one is it's going to be cheaper, and it's probably going to be the cheapest of all the bikes I'm going to list, which means less money output for you, and you'll also be able to pick one up with all the accessories bolted onto it. This will be a major advantage of anything on the used market, is that someone else has probably done the hard work of modifying it for you already. It's also going to be very affordable to run because it sips fuel, it's very economical. Yes, it has some downsides. It's a little bit heavier than the 300L and the WR250R, but it's still quite a capable little bike. Soft suspension, yes. My mate has one. I've ridden it on-road and off-road as well, and he goes everywhere I go on my 300L and has never complained once. Still very capable, very affordable, and will get you out into the dirt right now instead of 6 to 12 months. The mighty Suzuki DRZ 400. This is another motorcycle I have personally owned as well. And this bike, as well as having the advantage of being used and having all the accessories already done to it like the others on the list, this bike also has some clear advantages over the 300L. It has better suspension. It is also lighter. The DRZ makes significantly more power. It's far better at delivering that big grin on your face, which a lot of people are gonna like. It's also been out for a very long time, so there's gonna be lots of different fixes and all very easy to do and on the cheap. The other thing about this bike is it's been out so long that there's just so many examples of this on the used market. You can basically poke a stick in any damn direction and find one for sale. Start it up. The next one is the KLX 300. This is the main competition on the market at the moment for the CRF 300L. The downside is this really is only available in countries like North America. And the Kawasaki also has superior suspension, so it has that advantage as well. And for those of us like myself who are stuck in a country where we don't get the 300, look at the KLX 250, because here in Australia, I can buy a KLX 250, and whether it's secondhand or new from the dealership, I can go to Kawasaki and ask them to upgrade to the 300cc kit. Pick yourself up a cheap used KLX 250, add the 300 kit for a little more power, and you're laughing. And last but not least, look at a second-hand enduro bike. While it isn't a dual sport, service intervals are going to be a lot shorter, maintenance costs are going to be more expensive. It's going to be exponentially better with performance, lightweight, and high-end components. And because there's so many of them on the market, because it's such a popular segment in the motorcycle industry, you can pick one up used at a fairly affordable price. And a lot of them come plated as well. Here in Australia, all enduro bikes come with a road legal license plate, so you can ride them on the road all the way to the trails and have a great day in the dirt for 6 to 12 months before your 300L arrives. And then you can just sell any of these bikes that I've suggested on the secondhand market once again and put it back into paying off the 300L. Or maybe you'll just fall in love with the bike you've got and continue on the journey. And I'm sorry if you are stuck with the frustrating and long wait, but if you are, I can tell you the wait is worth it. It's a fantastic motorcycle. I absolutely love mine, and I've repeatedly said for me, the 300L is my unicorns. I can't endorse it more highly than that if you are willing to wait. But until next time, guys, don't forget to stay shiny side up, and I'll see you in the next one.